To talk about the new challenge that launched today. I know I got received an email on it, and I know that I also clicked the link and it takes you to the Facebook page. But is the TE Gratitude Challenge, and I just think this is so cool. I send quite a lot. Probably I'm better at sending the just because cards than I am with remembering birthdays on time. Is that so sad? My sister's birthday was on Sunday, and I think she got hers Monday or Tuesday. So I'm not very good. But I do like to send the just thinking about you, hey, just checking in. So this is the gratitude challenge. I went ahead and printed it off because I thought I might bring it back in several times. I didn't want to keep switching. But this is the sketch for this week. And every week they will have a new sketch, and there will be a prize. They will randomly choose someone, and they will get a $50 TE gift card, which I am super jealous. That would help pay for a glass board. That would be exciting. But so join that. Make extra sure that you post it to the TE fan page and use the hashtag TE Gratitude Challenge. So, and that's all in the email, so you might want to just reference that in case I missed anything. But that's what I'm going to talk about today. But I do want to show you, the new freebie for this month. This is something that I just think is gorgeous, is the Forever Ferns background. I have personally been seeing ferns in a lot of things, like I bought a new throw pillow that has ferns on it. I put some in the little vases on my little shelf. So I feel like ferns in home decor are really becoming popular. So that is the background, that is the freebie for this month. So I just think it's gorgeous. Here are a couple of cards that Jill made for us. Let me get these out of the way. They're so cute, and of course there's stitching on them. I hope I'm gonna have a couple more lives this month. I hope to be able to use it because this is something that I thought was gorgeous and I really wanted to try myself. So I have some ideas and I'm looking forward to trying them. So both of these, she used, I think it's our frame and frame, I think it's called frame and frame, but she used a background die that cut this frame, but she used both pieces. She stitched them a little bit on the side, which I think is really pretty. And then she of course just used different inks right on the background, which I thought was so pretty. So, and then this one's a little more tropical. I feel like that she took the ferns to a tropical place. And she used pretty much similar products. She has some stitching on there also. And the Hello Sunshine, I think that's so cute. This one reminds me, I missed you guys 2 weeks ago for my live, and I was in Oregon, and we just went and looked at all the beautiful places in Oregon, and it's stunning there, and it is amazing to me how the ferns are just so happy growing out of the ground. Here in Iowa, I have ferns, but I don't know if our growing season or we just don't get enough moisture for them. They do not look that beautiful and lush as they did in Oregon. Of course, the wet side of Oregon, not the dry. Oregon has a lot of different climates, but this reminds me of Oregon. Loved it so much. Thank you, Debbie. She said, frame and frame 3. I am the worst. I love my products, and sometimes I am not very good about remembering their names. I'm sure that makes our products sad. So everyone's name is so important, and remembering my poor product's name is probably just as important. So ferns forever. But that is the freebie for the month, which I'm excited about. I am very excited about that glass board. I know it's an investment, but for me, I have a corner desk and I love it, but part of my corner cuts off with this seam, so I'm always trying to avoid the seam. So it'll be very exciting for me to have a glass board, and it will be a spot that my little sidekick die cut machine can adhere to well. And I love that it's white, so I can use the color catcher spots for picking up. And we are going to do some ink blending today, which I should have grabbed the glass board, but I forgot. So let me get started. I'm going to talk you through the products I used on a few cards first. I don't have a ton of technique to this one, but the layout is all the same that goes with the challenge. So A2 size card. I liked the vertical look. I kind of messed with horizontal. I know some of you will come up with something beautiful for the horizontal with this layout. I tend to make a lot of vertical cards, so that seemed to be the one that my eye liked the best. So these two are both from a stamp set called Wheatfield Dreams. I believe it was in a kit when it first was released. Not I believe, I know it was, because I still have mine all in its zipper pouch. I don't know about you guys, but I get very torn about whether I want to take everything out of the zipper pouch or not. Sally, I see your comment. I should have come to Michigan. I will do that. We're just trying to make our rounds through the national parks and trying to enjoy the United States a little bit more. So it started with Yellowstone and Yosemite, and it's just continued. But I will make my rounds. Michigan, I'll put it on the list. But I don't know why we got in our head Oregon. I think it's because my husband went to Bend, Oregon, and hiked there and just said, I want to go see the rest of the state, because he was there for a business trip and only got to see Bend. But back to this. Anyway, this is a Wheatfield Dream. It is an older stamp set. Again, like I said, it was in a kit. It happens to be one of my favorites. And you probably have seen me pull it out before. I use it quite a bit. The foilet with the wheat, I'm on my second pack of those. So I have used 12, and I just had to buy a new pack the other day. That's how much. I don't know why. I feel like it just is really non-girly looking card when I put the Wheatfield on it. So I tend to grab this one quite a bit. So I used that on both of these. And then the background that I used was the burlap background. This one I used our sugar cube on the toffee, and this one I used toffee on toffee to make a different look. The other thing I want to point out, let me see if you guys can catch this. Can you see how the edges of this one is darker than this one? I kind of wanted to talk you through that before I get into making our main card, which will be this one. But I kind of wanted to talk you through something. I love ink blending, and I ink blend quite a bit. I love adding that soft background behind my main elements, but I also really like the different look that I can get, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So this one is very light around the edges, okay? Can you catch that? This one, the edges are much darker and more defined, and that there's no difference in colors. Well, actually there is, I lied, sorry. This one I used a blue tone and a little bit of pineapple. This one I used a little bit of pineapple and a little bit of sweet basil, very light hand of both. But the biggest thing is when I die cut. This one, I ink blended an entire rectangle first and then die cut it. And this one, I die cut first with our ovals and then ink blended around the edges. Wheat reminds me of the Midwest. Maybe that's what it is, Sue. I see that comment. Thank you for the beautiful card comment. My father used to grow wheat. He, way back in the day, or it wasn't wheat, it was oats, but still they kind of remind me. He then moved just to corn and beans that we had on our farm. But anyway, I think maybe that's what it reminds me of, just childhood, and I just like the look. So for this one, I already took our stacklet stitched ovals and I've die cut it out of sugar cube cardstock. And I'm bringing in our honey. And as you know, honey is a very strong color. If you have a harder time with being light-handed, I would grab pineapple to start with. I really use a light hand. I don't know what it is. I don't know how I achieve it. I have a harder time catching how Heather and Taylor, achieve the dark blends that they get. So for me, getting a dark blend means a lot of upper arm workout, and I'm tired when I'm done. So I do like honey, but it is very strong, and if you're a heavy hand, you might want to start with pineapple. So that's that one, and I will also start over here. And you will see that my edges are quite dark with this one, but then when I die cut, I obviously am cutting away and eliminating all of those edges. So get this one going, round around, brushy brush. So this gratitude challenge is also leading us up to Thanksgiving and being grateful and gratitude. And this challenge says you're supposed to send, because the other big part about this challenge is you're actually supposed to send the card. So I plan to do the same. And I was trying really hard to think about who helped me grow this year. And I can't I don't know that I can, if I have someone in mind for helping me grow, but just saying thank you and helping me this year, I decided I'm going to send it to my mother-in-law. She does so much for my girls and thinks about them so often that I think I'm going to send it to her. And I think she will really appreciate this style of card too. She makes the best homemade spaghetti sauce that is out of this world. I haven't bought spaghetti sauce in years and years and years. And it's just so good. And I know she just got done making her batch for the season. She sent us like 30 or 40 jars of spaghetti sauce. And I know it is not easy because my husband and I thought, oh, we should learn how to do this. And then when I saw her process, I thought, I can't even begin to remember how she did it or have the talent of how she does it. So she deserves a big thank you. And I thought this would go to her for sure. So that's who mine is going to go to, and I will send it. I will make sure that I do. But if you have someone in your life that's helped you, I know for a fact, if my husband was sending it, he has someone at work that has mentored him this year. If you have just someone that's been there for you and helped you out, and helped you grow, or just helped you this year, remember them and send them a card. So those are probably my most favorite, or just sending cards to say thank you to someone, even if it was just thank you for the chat on the phone, or thank you for having me over for dinner. I also like to send the notes that say thanks for just being awesome. Don't forget just letting people know, and the joy of a real card in the mail. So yeah. Oh, I'm looking at all the comments of all where people are going. I'm excited. I think I get to go, I have a ticket. I get to go to Hawaii at the end of February, tagging along with my husband's work trip. I just don't want to jinx it. I feel like it just seems so far off. I'm like, is it actually going to happen? So this was the sweet basil. And so I did the same, honey and sweet basil on both of them. Again, I am a light hand, so if you are a heavy hand, you might want to try like pea pod and pineapple or something. But it is one of my favorite like backgrounds to throw behind things, because I think it shows sunshine and that idea of having grass, kind of, what do you want to call it, like portrait style in the background. So let me get these out of the way. I'm going to die cut this just to show you what I mean, so I can hold them up side by side. But it really depends on what I'm doing and which look I want. I like both very much. So I have my TE stitched ovals, and we'll lay this on this one because obviously the other one's already cut. If you go to die cut and you have ink blended, make extra sure that either you detack your tape or keep your tape to the outside, because ink, when it's in your paper and it's not quite dry, also makes it easier to tear with your tape, even if it is a repositionable. So yeah. Oh, and this is what I was gonna say. Thank you, Whitney. Her little comment reminded me. So my husband recently was interviewing for a new job, or within his company, and he went out to go for his interview, and the person who was interviewing invited him back for dinner. His wife made dinner, and I thought that was very nice. They could have just gone out to eat, but made him dinner. And so he wanted a card, and I happened to give him one of my Wheatfield foiled cards with the wheat on it. And I just put thank you on it for him and sent it. And he got a text back from this guy saying, oh my gosh, an actual card in the mail. That was amazing. So just the joy that it brings people, and we get to do that. So don't forget to send your cards. So here's the difference between the two. I'm just gonna try to tip them in the light so you can see it a little better. If you ever want just a little bit extra of this edging, you can always come in after you've die cut it and just do a light hand if you just want a little bit of that catch around the edge. But I like them both. Obviously, I made 2 different cards because I do like it both ways. It just kind of depends on what I'm going for. So that's how I did those. I wanted to point that out to you. Anything else that I wanted to point out about these? This little dots that I did in the middle of the sunflower, I will come back to. I'm going to show you. Gosh, I can't quite catch that. Can you guys see that? The little dots that I have in the middle of the sunflower with the copper embossing powder. I had some people on Facebook that were discussing this. I had done it on a different card previously, and they wanted to know how I did it. And it was something that I just decided to do just because I wanted a little something extra on that card. And I didn't realize people would wonder about it. So I am going to show you that. So again, here's our layout, and this sentiment, I know it doesn't quite fit with the layout because the layout is more, it's more of a flat-ended rectangle. But I thought just taking whatever sentiment you chose, which I chose the Sincere Sentiments that were just released last week, which I'm so excited about that release. I love so many of the products. That is another thing that I don't know, I'm very into sending remembrance cards, and I've asked Taylor for a lot of years to have something for remembering someone, because I feel like once you've lost someone, you feel like people forget. And in a year or on whoever's been gone on their birthday, it's nice to remember and say, I remember you today. I know today's a tough day or whatever, just to send them a card. We lost someone dear to us in November, and his birthday was in March. So I sent his wife a card in March just saying, I know this is a tough month. So things like that. I always think it's good to remember all those people. So this came from that, the Sincere Sentiments. And I thought it still went. I just kept it with that angle, even though it wasn't a blunt rectangle. So, and this is a card that I'm going to send to my mother-in-law because I think that You Are a Blessing really fits. It's easy to say thank you, but to say you are a blessing would really mean a lot, I think. So it happens to be from the mini strip Thanks add-on. The You Are a Blessing. And I did that in gold, and I do know these dots in the center are in copper. You could have made this also in copper. I don't know why. I just did them differently. So let's go on to the other card, and I'm just going to touch on this one. This one I made similar. I used those Sincere Sentiments, but I used Garden Variety Prairie. And this is one where I ink blended the rectangle first, then die cut the oval, and then I did come in and add a little bit more texture to those edges. But I just used the Garden Variety Prairie. This was out of stock the first week, and now it is back in stock if anyone was trying to get a hold of that one. And then this is linen background with sugar cube on toffee is how I did the background. So, and I tied them together just to keep them like in a bow there at the bottom. So let me go on to the card I'm actually going to show you today. This one, but I did do a lot of things, so hopefully we can move quickly with this one. I am going to do the background first because I want that sugar cube to dry. So let me grab my Misty. And I use the linen background. Let me make sure I know I brought it over here and I've lost it already. There it is. I'm going to use the linen background in the middle here. I love using our guidelines that are already pre-printed for me there. So pick that up. And then I used Oyster. I debated a lot of different colors and a lot of different ways of doing this background, but I landed on Oyster. This is one of my favorite grays because I feel like it's very cool, but it's very soft to make up backgrounds like this. So oh, sorry, I'm reading notes. I love the linen background too. I love linen. I also love that burlap one. So thank you. Oh, thank you for the nice comments. And someone said, how exciting. Oh, okay. I think she must be from Hawaii. Amy, are you from Hawaii? I have been there before, and I'm excited to go back. We went to the Big Island and went to the national park for the volcanoes, and it was amazing. So, and we're actually going to go back again. Yeah. So, I'm going to share a funny story about Hawaii while I stamp this. I liked to stamp it a few times, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it first so it could dry. So the Big Island has this national park that's a volcano, and it was active not that long ago. But anyway, my husband and I went. We did quite a few trails while we were there, did the whole thing, enjoyed it immensely. And I have a daughter that collects rocks. So we were walking through just rocks and rocks and rocks of all this volcanic rock that was there. And I picked up just a little chunk, just one little chunk. Thought it would be fun to tell her about it because she's always collected rocks. She actually has them displayed and has little like name banners for all of them and everything. So let me show you this. So this is linen with white on. It's very subtle. I did try it with oyster on oyster, and it just looked a little dark to me. So then something that I did ahead of time was I ink blended this background. So I'm going to use this one because you need to make sure your ink is dry. But I'm going to show you, I started with saltwater taffy cardstock is what I started with. And then these are the 3 colors that I used to make this dimensional or ombre look. So I wanted to show you that. So I'm going to ink blend these. I think I'm going to start with a darker color first. Let me start with my blue raspberry. But again, I want to cut this one, so because I don't want those harsh edges with this one. Again, you need to use a light hand. Blue raspberry is pretty intense. So anyway, I grabbed this little rock on our trip, on our walk through the volcano and through some of the trails. We were on a trail that just, there really wasn't much to see other than miles and miles of volcanic rock that was dried and just laying everywhere. So I picked up, I'm telling you, just a little chunk because I figured she doesn't need it, but I thought it would be a good story to kind of tell her about, you know, where it was and this national park we were at. So I get back to the hotel that we were staying at, and I hear through the grapevine that, because I was like, all this volcanic rock, this is how I found out. I was talking to a shopkeeper, and I said to her, all this volcanic rock, is there not something that you guys can do with it? Like, and she's like, oh, it's bad luck. You can't touch the volcanic rock. You can't take it with you. And I was like, you can't? Because then I didn't want to admit what I had done. So, because you're not supposed to take things, even if it is just a rock, because if everyone did, there wouldn't be anything left, right? So I was like, oh, really? So I was trying not to, you know, tell her what I had done or lead on. And I was like, really? So then I look it up, and there's actually, people will mail rocks back to the post office on the Big Island, or this is what I'm told, because bad luck follows them. Is that true? I don't know. So I literally had to beg someone that I found out was going to the national park the next day to put it back. I told him what trail we were on and everything. How funny is that, right? So I asked him to return said rock. It stayed on the Big Island. I don't think I brought any bad luck home with me. So anyway, I don't know if it's true or if that was just something, but I did Google it, and they said that the post office actually gets rocks back. So anyway, I find it funny. Sorry. Oh, thank you for the nice comment, Barbara. You have to leave another rock in return, Kelly says. The rock went back. I am not kidding. I even went back and checked with the person. I said to because I gave them our park pass, and I said, will you please put this back when you go? And he said he returned it. I don't know if he was pulling my leg, but it didn't leave the island, that's for sure, because I guarantee you this guy did not take the rock back with him, but I begged him. I said, can you please bring this rock back? So I don't need any bad luck. So the last part is going over with salt water. So I did the blue raspberry confetti cake all on saltwater taffy. And I don't know if it makes a difference. It does in my eyes. I'm going to go over the top with a little bit of salt water at the very tip top, because I also, even though this is saltwater cardstock, I also want to grab and kind of bring those colors together. And I think going over the top of it does help, even though that is saltwater cardstock underneath. So another thing is, you see I'm turning myself. I don't want to ink blend this light color over top of this blue sweet basil, sorry, over that sweet basil. It can kind of reactivate that and pick some of it up. So I'm moving. So there's my blend. This one's a little heavier, but this is the one that's dry, so that's the one I want to use. But that's what I did. And then I'm going to bring my die cut machine back in. And we will do that. And we will also cut a piece of sugar cube. So let me grab this one. So I also have our petite scalloped ovals and our stitched oval. Let's bring them back in and cut them at the same time. So anyway, I don't pick up rocks anywhere now. Like, I'm scared. I'm like, where else is it bad luck? It's protected, she said. Oh, Debbie says she has lava rock around her home in southern Utah and it's protected. It can't be taken or disturbed. Yep, there is something. That's what I was hearing. That's what I read about. We have an app called Guide Along. It used to be called Gypsy app. And a few days later, we were listening to him too, and he was talking about it also. So it's a thing. I didn't realize, but now I won't even, it's hard for me to even pick up a shell on the beach because I'm afraid. Traumatized. I learned my lesson, right? Yeah, it's protected because that's one of the things I noticed. I was like, oh, can't we do something with this? But you don't, Debbie says. She agrees. So that's my background. And like I said, if I do want a little bit of dark edges, don't grab your brush and don't even put any ink on it. And you might be able to catch some of those. Give yourself just a little bit of a darker edge without it being so bold. A lot of times when I do this, like after I've die cut, if I do want to grab the edges just a little bit, I don't bring in an ink pad. I just use whatever ink is still on my brush. Because something to keep your brushes nice is to try, especially if you're a heavy-handed person, is to try to get as much out of the brush before you put it away or retire it to wherever you store them, is to get as much ink out of it as you can. Otherwise that kind of dries in there. So there we go. Like that. I like that ombre. So then I went ahead and I used the feather. Now I'm starting to get nervous. Yes. I was like, I didn't use the one I just blended, did I? Nope, I did not. So I'm gonna set this on here. We will bring in my Misty. I'm gonna grab the little, these launched the Tuesday after my last live because I know Taylor had talked about that I was going to spill tea, and then I didn't have tea to spill because basically if I showed you the mini, that was it. I mean, that was the whole release. So I didn't have tea to spill my last live, and I don't this time either. I'm sorry. I do not have tea to spill. Taylor and I talked about it before I went live. Do not have tea to spill. I'm sorry. So, and this moved on me, so let me put this back down. All right, so powder tooled it. I'm going to ink it up with my Versamark. I'm not using foil today, but you guys must know if Susan does a live without, or even makes a card without embossing, that is a rare day. I just love embossing. So, and I suppose we could have done this before I die cut it to give me a little more space for my hands to be. Oh, look at this. I have a Just Press tool. Maybe I should use it, right? I can barely see it. I might do it one more time. This Versamark seems a little dry to me. It might need to be re-inked. Okay. Let's shake some white embossing powder on that. I have a mess today, don't I? Let's grab some scratch paper. We'll use this. Oh, here's my scratch paper. Put some white on this. This is our white embossing powder. I just found a little itty bitty teeny tiny brush the other day, and it's my new favorite thing. Just a teeny tiny one for getting rid of any strays that I might have picked up. And I'm gonna keep it with my embossing from now on. There wasn't even anything really to clean up, but just in case, it's good to have it around. And I don't know about you guys, but I am not kidding when I say I love my little robot vacuum. And that could be because I do so much embossing if you're not big in embossing, but I love my embossing, so. Oh, I will. They're right here, Debbie. Thank you, my little mini mitts. They are perfect for this. All right, get our heat tool warmed up. Set that down. I have little fuzzies. I like to heat up the back of my paper, just something I do. I feel like it helps me. Plus I'm heating up my tool anyway, so. See, look how fast that went. I don't know, I was taught to heat up the back of my paper and I just can't stop now. The way I do it, I think it really helps. If you have embossing powder that has like glitter in it or is real chunky, heating up the back really helps, I feel like, start the most bottom of that product, start to adhere to your paper. So I do really like that trick of heating up the back of my paper. Really makes a difference. Okay, so the next thing for us to do is these little dots. So I did dots on the center of the, let me find it back, sunflower. I know they're probably hard to see. These I did with copper embossing powder, but I did both of these the same way. These I did with silver, and I'm gonna do the same thing again. So we'll bring in our silver embossing powder, and I used just glue. I know there was a lot of speculation about what I used. I don't know, I use my products that I have, and I don't know if this is, I don't know if anyone else has ever done this, but I just do little itty bitty, and I try to keep them as small as possible. And that is one of the reasons why I like the Bearly Arts glue for this, is because it's just so fine. I can get the smallest little dots. So I'm going right over top of my white embossing powder that is set or heated. I just go right over top and do quick little dots. And I'm just barely touching the paper. Some of them I can't even really see just because the glue is white, my embossing is white. And if you're having trouble seeing them, what I do is I just bring in my paper, shake my embossing powder on the top of it, and shake that off. Yep, I feel like I want just a few more, so I'm going to move that out of the way real quick. But now I can see and if you see, I kind of every once in a while clean off the top because I want to keep my dots small. So if I can, and it's starting to come out of the tube a little too fast for me, out of the bottle, I should say, then I kind of wipe it off. I'll have to grab a baby wipe and just wipe that off. But the smaller the dots, I just feel like it just looks better. Like I just got one that's a little big on there. I'll show it to you in a sec. So shake that on again. So that one right there in the center, and that one I think I did two next to each other, but same way. So that's what it looks like, which is the powder on the top. When you go to heat this, it goes really fast. And it could be because I've already been using it, but I find it goes really fast. The one thing I would really remind you of doing is to keep your embossing gun a little further away. It starts to bubble. So I don't know if that's because it's glue that I'm using or what, but let's just do this quick. I'm being dangerous because I have powder out. So I do like to keep it a ways away. Do you see how quickly that's going? And if you put some on and you want more, you absolutely... Okay, so I like this the way it is, but if I wanted to add more, you can. But again, try to keep your gun, your heat tool a ways from it. It will go fast for two reasons. One, you don't want to reheat this white that's underneath if you're too close and push that down into the paper. So I keep it far away and it goes really fast. I don't know if it's because the glue heats up so fast or what, but I don't know. That's how I did that. That's how I added the copper dots on my sunflower. That sunflower and the wheatgrass I had done with Copics, coloring Copics. Just colored them in with Copics. And then when I was done, I just felt like I wanted something just a little extra to those. At least this. I thought about doing dots at the center of the copper embossing powder also with that one, but next time. I had it all glued together. So that's what I did there. If that explains that to the people, some of the people that were asking on Facebook how I did that. So let's recap my glue. Look at that. Now it's really coming out of there. All right, let's get the pin back in that. My pin is bent. Should get a new one. I know where they're at, right? Fine tip of an embossing pen. Sally, yes, I love my embossing pen. I have, what Sally's talking about is Versamark makes an embossing pen. And I do love it. I use it quite often just for that a watermark look that Versamark is. The problem that I find with my Versamark pen is that it dries quickly. You can definitely try it. It won't give you the raised quite as much of a raise as the glue does. I also find my embossing pen, for some reason, I don't know if it's me or mine, it just dries really fast. So feel free to try it. I'd love to know what your results are. I have probably 5 embossing pens at home by Versamark, or not embossing pens, 5 Versamark of the pens. Taylor sold them for a while. I don't think she does anymore, but they just dry fast, and I love them because I use them quite often for the main feature, the watermark feature. But yes, you could try it. I don't know, one day I wanted texture to the card, and it happened to be the center of a flower. I wanted that texture, and I wanted it to kind of be a little raised, and I thought, well, here goes, let's try this. I had never done it before, and I think it was a few months ago. And I thought, oh, no one's going to see that. And then I saw some discussion about how did she do that on Facebook, on the Fans of TE Facebook page. And I was like, oh, people did notice that. So I thought I would just share, because as soon as I saw the feather, when we released the feather for the remembrance release, I thought, ooh, that would be fun to put just little dots on the feather. So add that to our sugar cubed oval die cut. So there we go. And then, just because I knew Taylor had a lot to talk about at the beginning and I wanted to show you a few things, I pre-did my sentiments, which I have lost them now. I will find them. Here they are. I pre-embossed the thanks add-ons. Nope, I lied. That's what I used on that one. Sorry. I used the mini strips, You're the Best. And there's one in here that says, I'm thankful for you. And I thought that really embodies the whole challenge, the gratitude challenge. And you are a blessing, same way with this one. But I already took that, embossed it with our silver embossing powder. Just need to die cut it. So we'll grab this, bring this in, grab my tape I already used. Let's see, am I missing anything? Oh, Debbie agrees with me. Debbie, I assume you're talking about the embossing pen. I keep calling it embossing pen, I'm sorry. It's a Versamark pen. You can use it for embossing. The actual pen also has the watermark feature to it. But it just dries kind of fast for me. I have a hard time. I know I tried doing lettering with it, and I love it because I love the watermark feature to it, but I struggle with getting it to emboss with it because I feel like I don't move fast enough. But I don't know. I have the glue. As long as you have a liquid glue with a fine tip, I think it should work. In all honesty and transparency, though, I used Barely Arts for all of my projects just because that happens to be my glue. I don't know if other glues would react differently. I'm not saying you have to have Barely Arts. Just try it, like on the edge. Like if you have Nuvo and you have a fine tip on it, or you have whatever you have, just try it on a little corner of a piece of paper and see if it works. I really don't know why it wouldn't work, but you never know. Everything acts a little differently, right? So let's send this through. All right, I think we're done with our die cutting. So let's bring this back in. Here, this is our oyster with sugar cube on it, ink on it. And ahead of time, I took our easy strips and I die cut some sugar cube cardstock. I obviously had a short piece, but it didn't matter. I didn't need the whole piece, just long enough to reach across your card. I just like that little added texture. We have so many different easy strips, and whether they have stitching or they have a pattern in them, all of them would be great too for this little embellishment. So I'm going to lay this out a little bit because I know I like my diagonal of my strip to be in a certain place. So I like that placement. Let's put some glue on the back of there. It is so funny. Years ago, I would have never reached for liquid glue for anything other than a small, glue, adhering a detailed die or die cut somewhere. And Barely Arts and Nuvo has changed me. I reach for it often. I love the easy strips so much. I agree, Lisa. And how about the maps? I just think they're so fun. There's a coordinating die for that set. The With Sympathy, Debbie. Yep, sorry. I didn't look up at the comments quickly enough. Nope, this stamp set that, like I said, released with the Remembrance release last week, so it would have been like 10 days ago. Sincere Sentiments, and it has a coordinating dies. I'm in love with this one. Had to add it to my stash. I do get to brainstorm products with Taylor, so sometimes I get things that I really wanted, so that's always fun, right? But I feel like there's so much that we can use in here. So remembering you today can be that you're remembering someone that they lost. It can be that you're remembering and you want to thank someone. There's so many beautiful things in here. The thinking of you, you're in my prayers, just stunning. And I love that there's two different, with sympathy and with heartfelt sympathy. I love them both. So that is going to be a stamp set. I just feel like the font is elegant and light and perfect. So that's my placement for that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some of our 1/32 foam tape on here. You know how much I love that, right? Because I feel like this one's going to be a thank you card, but like for a sympathy card, I don't like a ton of dimension or splash, as I could say, to the card. So I don't like using a ton of foam, but this 1/32 I feel like is fine. Not too much splash or too much, not too much. Oh, yeah, Angie, you're using your, I don't know, you've known me around TE for a while, Angie. You know I was never a fan of liquid glue. And Nuvo and Barely Arts have changed me. There we go. Then to keep with the gratitude challenge, to keep with that theme, I love this. I'm thankful for you. I think that would be very pretty. Can go that way. I also thought these don't go well. Let me see. maybe I'll lay these out. I think it would be fun too to stack your words a little bit. So you could do from that one, I love you, you're the best. I feel like that could really pretty too. That doesn't go with what I want to send today. I suppose you could do you're the best. I'm thankful for you. That would be really pretty too. Especially for this, what do I want to call it? This challenge, what they're trying to get you to do. So, but I want to use the I'm thankful for you. I think that's what I am going for. So we'll get some, I need to decide. A couple of mine I have cut off the edge just to kind of keep it in line with where I want it to be. This one, I think, let's go totally with matching the layout, and I won't cut it off because the layout shows it not quite to the edge, but you do not have to follow the full layout. I didn't, especially with some of these where I went and added the die cut word. But let's grab some foam tape because part of this is going to be hanging off and I want it to lay well. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of our 1/32. I would use the 1/16 if I had it. I just didn't bring it over here. So I folded a little piece over just to give me that dimension. Make sure I'm putting it on the correct end, right? Add the liquid glue. And then I'm sure there's a perfect insiders for all of this. I don't know about you, but I am obsessed with our insiders. I need to get mine organized because I have so many insiders now and I have them just in a bucket and I'm always leafing through to find what I want. So I need to get them organized. I don't know about you. You guys probably have super organized stamped rooms, right? I know where everything is. Does that count? Is this challenge just for 1 week, Linda said. This one is, I know we're starting on a Thursday, so I don't really know. I think they go every Thursday, you'll get a new one, is my understanding. So yeah, it goes for 1 week, so next week there'll be another one. And I know we have our monthly challenge, which is, I believe, Resist. So that one is going on too. Yeah. Oh, you're so smart. That's a great idea. Okay, should we do it? Let me see if I have glue. Let me see who said that. Tisha said you could cut this in two so you can get each. Let's do that. Let me see if I can still get my foam off the back because the placement of that might be bad. I like that idea. I suppose I could get out my die cut or trimmer, but I don't want to because I've got glue on the back of here now. So she said, why don't you just cut it into two so I can try this look? And I like that. I like that idea. I probably need to bring my trimmer in because now I want these to match. I want my ends to match, so I'm going to have to trim them because I want the ends to look the same. Oh, I like that. Isn't that cute? Not cute. I don't know. I just like that a little bit better. But I was trying to go with the challenge and then I didn't. Let's start with the For You. I feel like, I don't know that I need foam on the back of these now. Good suggestion. I do that all the time. Don't know why I didn't think of it myself. All right. I like that. I think it would have been great just the way it is too. Not cutting it. Either way works, but this was kind of fun to go with what was in my head. Okay, I gotta pick it up just so I can see and make sure my things are going straight. There we go. All right, and then we will put it on a white card base. Another thing that I love, I just had to order, I was out of. Lives always make my brain break too. That's funny. That's true. True story. I love our top folding pre-cut and scored card bases. They're my favorite thing. I just had to order them. I was all out. Actually, I had to cut and score my own card bases yesterday. That's so pretty. I love that. I love that. Let's glue this down. In hindsight, now I'm wishing my main focal point had been shifted over a smidge, but I still think it looks good. I wish I could take this whole thing and scooch it just a millimeter, and I might. I actually might. I'm sure I can get this apart, but might scooch it over a smidge. So here is my original one. Let me grab that and grab them all. Maybe bring them back in. So there was the other one of those, and then these are the last of them. I did share a photo with Charlie, so I'm sure she put them up on the website. And don't forget about the gratitude challenge, and make sure you put hashtag TE gratitude challenge when you post it. And again, the pre-order for the glass board started, and Stamp Joy Virtual for the spring started. So make sure you look into both of those things. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Thanks for your kind words. I love it when you guys give me feedback. I appreciate it. So I hope you have a great day. Bye.